Hi, my name is Miss Laura, and this is the Early Childhood Appy Hour. Today I'm going to introduce you to a few apps that are geared to the promotion of early childhood education and early childhood literacy. So, before we begin, I just want to mention that the American Academy of Pediatrics recommend that before the age of 18 months to 2 years, children not use screens with the exception of video chatting and FaceTime. So, today our recommendations will be geared towards 2 and above, specifically in that preschool age range. Let's begin. The first app that I'd like to introduce you to is actually a library app. You can access TumbleBooks and TumbleCloud Library through the library website on the computer, or you can download the app and use these on your phone. The difference between this and the other ones we will be talking about is this one requires a Palos Heights library card. You won't be able to access it unless you have a library card. If you aren't a Palos Heights library member and you live into a different community, you could always check to see if your local library has TumbleBooks, as it is a common app for libraries to have. This is a collection of books that are animated and are read to the child. So if you're looking to read books on a visual platform like a computer or your phone or iPad, this would be a good tool that is free to use through the library that would read the story to the children. TumbleBooks has picture books specifically for our conversation today, but it also includes books that are for older children and even teens. This is an example of a picture book you might see on TumbleBooks. You can see that the words in the color red are going to be the ones that are read by the narrator as this continues forward, and the picture that we see is the original picture from the book Lola at the Library. The next app I wanted to include in our presentation today is the Khan Academy Kids app. I saw this app recommended on multiple resources, so I really wanted to make sure that I included it. Common Sense Media writes that it has creative early learning activities to engage and inspire, which is always a good sign for an early education app. They recommend it for ages 3+, and the benefit of this one is that it is free to use for everybody who has an iOS, Android, or special edition of a Kindle Fire option for the Khan Academy Kids app. Here are a few screenshots from what you could see on the Khan Academy app. As you can see, we have some motor skill programs with the tracing of lines, as well as some spelling programs with the one on the right, and they're all very colorful, kid-friendly, and wide-ranging. So beyond just spelling, there's going to be math, there's going to be critical thinking, there's going to be matching, all sorts of different early literacy skills that can be fostered through the app with these different games that are fun for kids to use. This next app that I'm introducing is a little bit different than the other ones I'm going to be talking about today. It has a mindfulness component, and it is really good for allowing children the space to breathe and really think through what they are going to do before they enter into a new situation. For example, starting school, putting on shoes, anything that can maybe be a little tough the first time out. It's called Breathe, Think, Do with Sesame, and it's for ages 4+. It's another free app, and this one can be used on both Android and iOS devices. You can see in this screenshot that we have the monster who has to choose between a few different options, and while they are thinking about what they're going to do, the kids are going to pop bubbles and try to focus on making that decision while also just relaxing and having that space to make their plans. This next app is a widely known app. It is the PBS Kids Games app, and it is obviously sponsored by PBS Kids, created with some of the characters that your children may recognize through popular television shows on PBS. But it actually has really great learning games in addition to having the friendly faces, and they are for ages 3+. It's a free app and it is available for iOS, Android, and Kindle Fire. The one thing about the PBS Kids Games apps, it is just one of the apps that PBS offers to children. So if you like the PBS Kids app, there are other apps that you can use that are PBS sponsored apps as well. And they also offer lots of games on their website. I do want to give a shout out to if you are using a computer rather than an app on a mobile device or an iPad or a Kindle, then you can go onto their website and find a lot of games that have the early literacy components, early education components, and also include those friendly faces from the programs your kids may be watching on the television. On this next slide, you can see some screenshots of the different types of games that you can access on PBS Games, and they include some characters you may recognize, like the cat in the hat. You can see here that they boast 50 plus educational games on their apps with math, creativity, tons of gameplay, and I want to point out that it says no Wi-Fi required. One benefit of this and a few of the other apps we're also talking about is that it does not require Wi-Fi to play once you've downloaded the app. So once you download the app, you can use it without having any internet connection. I also read on their website that this app includes different games that are added almost daily. So you may go one day and see a bunch of games, and then the next day or a few days later, there may be some new games that have been developed added onto the app, which makes it always kind of being changing, new, and exciting for the children to play. So those are just a few of the many apps available to you for early childhood and developmental skills. I wanted to highlight some of the ones that I thought were great, but I also want to focus on some other app developers that create many different apps targeted towards its age group. The first one I want to talk about is DuckDuckMoose. The great thing about DuckDuckMoose is all of their applications are 100% free. For the most part, as far as I know. And they can be identified with that purple duck in the corner. They have different apps geared for different activities, so you're able to target really what you're looking for, whether it's spelling or math or animals. The one I have as an example today on our slide is, I believe, a Peekazoo, an animal app, and you can tell with that little purple duck in that circle the white duck in the purple circle that you can see in the left-hand corner identifies it as a DuckDuckMoose app. The next one is Tokaboka. Tokaboka also is a developer that creates a lot of early childhood education apps. The one I have on the screen right now is the little child getting her haircut, and you can identify it as a Tokaboka app given that it has the little mouth in the bottom right hand corner with the rainbow teeth. All of their apps will have that little symbol and it will be able to identify it as a Tokaboka app. Tokaboka apps are usually not free like DuckDuckMoose. They, I think, cost usually $2.99 to download, but they have a lot of different apps to choose from. The last one I want to talk about is Sago Mini. Sago Mini is another app developer that creates early childhood applications. And the one that I have on the screen is that little dog that's holding the numbers. It's a counting or number app geared towards younger children. And there's no symbol to identify Sago Mini apps, but if you search in your app store, whether it's the iPhone App Store or Google Play or any of the stores that you can access on your devices, you should be able to find a lot of Sago Mini apps by just searching the name Sago Mini and then choose which one you want from there. If you find yourself looking for some new apps, I would recommend two places that I use for app reviews or even to just search different types of apps, and that is Common Sense Media and School Library Journal, specifically for educational applications with School Library Journal. I use them for this presentation today, and I use them in my everyday life. Common Sense Media is great because it doesn't just have apps, it has movies and books and reviews for all different types of media. It includes reviews as well from parents and children who have used this media, as well as the main Common Sense Media team. So you do get some different perspectives on the different things that you look up. They do have lists that you can look as well, the best of lists and the recommended lists, as well as just some other lists that you could browse through to find new apps that might be interesting to you. The School Library Journal is a professional organization that school librarians and public librarians use for book reviews and movie reviews and also app reviews. And they will do yearly the best apps of the year type of list, and that's a great resource to find new apps, specifically educational apps, as well as just fun apps in general. And on their website, besides articles that will be included in the technology section, they also have reviews on apps in their review section. So I put that on this final slide. That is the website, and then how you get to the app reviews is to go to reviews, media, and apps. You can also find articles about screen time, about different types of media, about the best apps for teaching, the best apps for learning a specific subject, a best app for a specific age group, all during their in their technology article section as well. So peek around School Library Journal and see if any of that stuff calls out to you, as well as Common Sense Media, a great source to use when trying to learn about something that you may not know much about regarding the content, and whether it's what you're looking for or whether it is a little bit different than what you thought you were getting. So those are two places I'd recommend searching if you were planning on getting some new ideas for apps or just trying to look up some that you already know about. Those would be two places that I think would be a good place to start. Okay, so thank you for joining me for the Early Childhood Appy Hour. Hopefully you found some apps that maybe you didn't know about before, or ones that you want to try with your own children after learning more about them. I want to mention as well that the library has another option for early childhood app experience if you are looking for that. All of the ones that I mentioned on our program today are ones that can be downloaded on your own devices, such as a phone or an iPad. But we also have at the library these devices called launch pads. They're small tablets that are preloaded with educational apps, so you don't have to do any other downloads once you receive them. There's no Wi-Fi on these tablets, and what they allow are different topics and different age groups on each tablet. You go in and you select the one that you want, and then there are multiple preloaded apps already loaded onto the tablets that you can borrow from the library with your library card. Those are called launch pads, and you can find them right in the Youth Services Department if that is something that is of interest to you. Other than that, I hope that you all enjoyed your time with me today at the Early Childhood Appy Hour. Please check out our YouTube page if you are looking for more fun stuff to do with your children, and I hope to see you at the library soon.